Hello, everyone. This is David with Magnificent Marketing. And today we are going to talk about 3 components of scaling your business in a non-douchey way. With us today is Dennis Yu. Dennis is the CTO of BlitzMetrics, a digital marketing company which partners with schools to train young adults. Dennis's program centers around mentorship, helping students grow their expertise to manage social campaigns for enterprise clients like the Golden State Warriors, Nike, and Rosetta Stone. He's an internationally recognized lecturer in Facebook marketing and has spoken in 17 countries, spanning 5 continents, including keynotes at LTE, Goldhagen, and Marketo Summit. Dennis has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, LA Times, NPR, TechCrunch, Fox News, CBS Evening News, and is co-author of Facebook Nation, which is a textbook taught in over 700 colleges and universities. And besides being a Facebook data and ad geek, you can find him eating chicken wings or playing Frisbee golf at a Frisbee golf course near you. Dennis, how are you doing today?
Good, Dave. How you doing?
Doing excellent. I will say, did a lot of research and getting prepped for this. Told this to my team earlier, but we are talking to maybe the foremost Facebook expert today. So we are super, super excited to learn from you. And my team already has learned a ton, but we are here to educate not only ourselves today, but our listeners. So super excited to have you. Thank you so much for your time, Dennis. So again, we're going to talk about scaling your brand. And when you're scaling brands, people get it wrong sometimes. They talk about themselves too much, or they don't position themselves correctly. Sometimes it comes across as too salesy. Sometimes it comes across a little douchey, right? And that's what we're here to talk about. And in doing my research, I know that you have your 3 pillars of authority that you start off with, and then you get into the phases of actually strategically advertising and getting those words out there. Yeah. So love to just kind of start at the top here and have you dig into those pillars of building that authority before you show it to the world.
Absolutely. So to drive sales, we have to create perceived authority before we have actual authority. And most people start with actual authority, such as we have a better product, or it's cheaper, or it's some kind of feature or benefit. But perceived authority, you have to earn the right so that they believe you are good. So those 3 components of authority are who is saying it, where it's being said, and what is being said. For example, if we want to get people to hire us to do Facebook ads, if I just told you in a douchey way, I've spent over $1 billion on Facebook ads, and we've done it for companies A, B, and C. We're really good. In fact, I think I'm the best in the world. I'd be a complete douchebag to say something like that, right? Because I wouldn't be leveraging any components of perceived authority. Now, what if for perceived authority, I've got a picture of my co-founder with Mark Zuckerberg, right? What if for perceived authority, I have multiple visits at Facebook and with them teaching training classes? Like last week, we were with Facebook in San Francisco and we recorded 2 days of training classes on how do you tell stories and how do you run ads the right way? Because of who that's with, because of where we're doing it. And then the what is, are we teaching from a recipe that is step-by-step, checklist driven that other people can follow? Because that kind of authority is, other people have followed this list. They've baked the chocolate chip cookies using the recipe. And thus, I feel that this recipe might work for me too.
I hear you. It's basically the difference between you telling somebody you're awesome and them figuring it out for themselves. And if they figure it out for themselves, that decision is much more, bound in their subconscious. They really believe it because they decided to call you an expert. Is that basically what I'm hearing? And we need to find ways of making that happen.
So Dave, tell me about something that you've bought recently. It could be a meal, it could be a car, something that you've bought.
I bought some stuff from H-E-B at midnight last night for chili.
Okay, H-E-B. So what are one of the items that you bought?
It was Hunt's tomato paste.
Hunt's tomato paste. Okay. Now there's Heinz tomato paste and there's Hunt's and there's Del Monte and other. Why did you choose Hunt's?
Well, this is probably the best answer. I'm really bad at the grocery store, and I just find anything that says the basics on it. So let's go back. Let's go back. My last big purchase was a car about a year ago. I bought a Kia.
Okay. So if you saw a commercial from Kia saying we have the best cars, we spend a lot of money on ads, we have the best quality, versus your best friend said to you, hey, I have a Kia and it's amazing. And let me tell you all about it. And you've been riding in the Kia. Other friends are saying, yeah, versus the Hyundai, versus the Honda, versus whatever. I really like the Kia. That's word of mouth. That's how people make decisions. That's why when you go to a restaurant or when you're in a new town, you probably look at Yelp, right? To see which restaurant you want to go to. You probably make a decision based on those reviews, don't you? In fact, when you go to Amazon, you don't go there just because it's, Prime and you can buy everything with one click. You buy because there's information and primarily the reviews. And what we're doing is we're stimulating that review effect with the perceived authority. And we do that with these three components of authority that create an effect that we call the lighthouse. Okay. The lighthouse is when you are lifting up another example by showing, for example, instead of saying we're really good at Facebook ads for sports teams, this is us at the Golden State Warriors, right? And here we are talking with the Warriors about how do you actually set up a campaign? And we've actually published our cookbook to the NBA, and Facebook has shared our cookbook step by step on how to do this, because we are creating the perceived authority, right? The perceived authority is they think that you must be good because of who you're associated with, because of where you are, and because of what you're sharing. And at no point in there am I direct selling, am I talking about myself? I always allow other people to talk about me. Yeah. So I'm amplifying the review effect, right? The lighthouse is when you're talking about, you're uplifting someone else. In order to do that, you can't be a douchebag in your garage with the Lamborghini, right? You can't be talking about yourself because you need to act like a journalist. Just like you are, Dave, when you interview other people, you're acting like a journalist because you want to make them look good. And when you edify them, that creates the perceived authority that then says, wow, this guy must be good. So if we have, so this is the difference with perceived authority. So we can see Logan is with Mark Zuckerberg. Now, if you see that, and then you see pictures of him and interviews of him with Gary Vaynerchuk and other people that are well-known in the online space, but you don't know who he is. Do you think that he might be good at Facebook ads? He might be good at digital marketing.
Yeah, I mean, understatement of the year, but yes, sure, absolutely.
So you have perceived authority, but you don't have any proof that he's actually any good, do you?
Well, the proof is going to be really easy to prove if you already have that emotional buy-in. I mean, well, you go ahead and tell me, but it seems like you've paved the way to make that really easy to accomplish, but you go ahead.
So you're creating, this is the key to sales, at least in this technique, is you're creating the perceived authority first. Perceived authority has to precede before anyone's willing to buy. I've got a Facebook mug here. You can only get this at Facebook. We've got a ton of Facebook shirts. You can only get that by going to headquarters, right? By creating the perceived authority, then you earn the right to then be able to show them how you do it and then have a sales call, explain what your products and services are, right? But if you don't build the perceived authority first, how much more difficult is it to sell?
No, I hear you. And I really love what you're saying. And it's really an easier way to live at the end of the day if you nail this down. Dialing for dollars and having a prospect and do all kinds of stuff. That's hard. And it's long hours and it's mentally draining and it's mentally straining. And that's really why marketing exists, is to grease the skids for the sales team to take over and make it easier for them. So bless you. So let's back up, because I get what you're saying. I think our listeners are going to get what you're saying. But they might not have keys to the Facebook castle, and they might not even have gotten going with a podcast like this yet, right? So let's see if we can talk and give some examples that you've seen, because the beautiful part about what you've done in BlitzMetrics in your academy is you have taught people how to fish, and you have created a never-ending supply of wonderful lives for people. All they need to do is go and execute. So kudos to you for doing that. And you've done it in such a way where you've allowed the everyday person to become awesome. So, but before they became really big, they went through the normal journey of growth. So all stages. So I would love for you to maybe think back to some ideas for those that are getting going, because I think it's not hard to understand that if I went to Facebook and I, had interactions and I showcased that people are going to open, like, ooh, like I get it, but that's not for everybody. So let's have you tell some stories on when you've seen how people accomplish this without having that sort of access.
So a lot of people think that you have to be a keynote speaker, you have to hang out with Mark Zuckerberg, whatever, or you have to have fancy camera equipment, need an amazing coach like Rob Hix that will help you edit your podcast. It's as simple as having customers, having an iPhone, and having $1 a day. Let me back up. So all of us in business, in driving sales, we have existing customers. But often we're so busy trying to get more customers and leads that we don't realize the gold we have in our existing customers that can do so much for us. When we interview them, the first step is it's called a testimonial. A testimonial is something where, I like David of Magnificent Marketing. His programs are amazing, blah, blah, blah. Everyone understands a testimonial is biased, but they do understand, just like a job reference, that it's a positive mention. Take it a step further. And to make it real, actually meet them at a coffee shop or walk outdoors to the park with your phone, and you ask them questions that would not be directly slanted towards a testimonial. You're asking them who they are. You're asking them about challenges in their business. You're asking them about their expertise that don't have anything to do with your product or service, but just to highlight who they are. And when you start to do that and you pull out 1-minute snippets, you become a journalist, and you don't have to do it with Richard Branson or Elon Musk. Who are the people in your vertical that you're trying to nail? I'll give you an example. My buddy Tyler Coles is an orthodontist. His dad was an orthodontist. He's a good orthodontist. He makes people's teeth straight. But initially, he wasn't a very good marketer, as most professional service people are. They're good at their one thing, but they don't know how to sell or market. So he started using Infusionsoft. And through Infusionsoft, he learned how to craft messages and do email marketing. And he got so good at it, and his business got so good, that he documented how he did it, and he started sharing it with other orthodontists who said, hey, man, how are you booking so many appointments? Oh, I'm using Infusionsoft. Okay. Well, how do you do that? Well, actually, I created a whole bunch of campaigns. And so I'm an orthodontist in Phoenix, but you're an orthodontist in Orange County. You can actually take the campaigns that I made and copy that to your practice as well. And so before you know it, all these other orthodontists are following him. And now he's got 100 orthodontist clients in addition to his 7 offices in Phoenix, where he's not even like, working on people's teeth anymore, but he's full-time on the marketing side. He's managing Infusionsoft campaigns for 100 orthodontists, but he used himself as the lighthouse. And then, because you have to start with an example somewhere. And then he equipped his brother as the lighthouse. And then he highlighted his brother's success. And then he highlighted someone else's success, these other orthodontists that came through the program, because he had all 3 components of authority. And so he was able to sell, not because he's like, hey, are you an orthodontist who wants to get more patients in and you find online marketing is difficult? No, he's not doing that. He is interviewing the other orthodontists who are sharing the exact steps that they went through, who they are as an orthodontist that appeals to other orthodontists. He's sharing that. And the place is he's sharing at other conferences where all the orthodontists get together at their conferences. Who is he interviewing? Where is it being said? What is being shared?
Love it. It's really genius. You're taking a testimonial and you're packaging it in a non-douchey way. It's just like, it makes so much sense. And you really got me thinking about when I am talking to, really, next time we look to talk to a client, I'm going to ask them different types of questions now. Now that is awesome. Now, establishing the authority also is going to come, and I believe I've seen you train this as well, is talking about other stuff that's helpful to people's, their audience, right? Can you touch on that? And then your whole, $1 a day strategy as well, getting it out there, because you do need to put some promotion behind this stuff if you really want to get the most out of it. So touch on that, and do touch again on the content within those videos, because you've touched on a great stage 2, stage 3, further down the funnel type of authority building. But let's also talk about the connection before that.
Okay. So Dave, let me ask you a question before I answer that.
Please.
What is the difference between a testimonial and a lighthouse?
Seems like the difference between testimonial and Lighthouse. A testimonial is going to be more of somebody, speaking about you, and the Lighthouse is more about you lifting somebody else up, and then from that you get the residual benefit of them, basically business and tapping into their authority by pushing them up. That's kind of how I see that.
How can you tell when a piece of content is a testimonial?
Oh man, pretty easily. I mean, when someone says, it probably normally starts with the company's name that they're talking about. I love working with XYZ company or for XYZ reason. How
much trust do you have when Michael Jordan is pitching you underwear and cell phone services, or when whatever celebrity, Steph Curry is a spokesperson for Kia, right? But do you think Steph Curry actually drives a Kia?
I don't know. Probably
he drives an orange Lamborghini. I'll just tell you that's his answer. Okay.
Yeah, he probably drives a Kia on the set.
So marketers and advertisers know that testimonials are powerful, but do you really believe in them? Do you really trust it? Because they're being paid. It's a slanted thing, right? It's a commercial. So to move from a testimonial to a lighthouse, to answer your question, you have to show the full spectrum of who somebody is. And you often hear people talk about authenticity and being real. And that is true, but that's not practical or helpful. So to make it real, you think about who you are as a person, because people buy from people. They don't buy from brands. So you take who you are, David, and we think about 6 different topics that you have. It could be that you love Austin and Torchy's tacos. It could be that you like to play Frisbee out in the park. It could be like digital marketing and sales. It could be that you're a family man and maybe your child has autism. Maybe you have all of these different facets, these topics that compose who you are as a person. When you start talking about your topics and you intersect that with other people and their 6 topics, when you have topical alignment, let's say we both like to play golf and you have a better handicap than me, and we joke about how I keep hitting it into the water and having to buy more balls. We're showing not only that we have a connection together, which is creating more perceived authority because we're in the same space, but it's creating alignment that builds a lighthouse because people see, the thing that makes a testimonial is they're only talking about one thing. So it's very flat. So if you have multiple topics together, people can see that Dennis also is a human. Dennis I like to eat chicken wings. I like to go hiking in different places. And you'll see videos of me doing this. And the key is that I'm packaging these 3 components of authority while also weaving in these other aspects where you'll see me at the beach talking about how do you do a 1-minute video. You'll see me as I'm hiking or going to a restaurant eating chicken wings, interviewing other people about how do you optimize your open rates in your email, right? And
man,
that's what creates the trust.
I hear you, man. I really do hear what you're saying here. And I've heard about first of all, when did you start talking about humanizing, just out of curiosity, like really, really pushing hard on humanizing your brand? Was it like 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
22 years ago when I built a website for American Airlines.
Okay. Well, that's why you're so successful, because I've really been hearing, a mad push for humanizing your brand, personal branding. And about the last 2 to 3 years, the chatter has gone insane with it. At South by either last year, maybe the year before. I mean, cause marketing, humanizing your brand, tying yourself to something. And some of these things we've talked about, I'm just saying the drum beats are getting louder and louder and louder. The personal branding at Content Marketing Institute this last September. I don't know if I was in a session where I didn't hear one of those things. And the reason for that, in my humble opinion, is that our audience, the consumer base is just getting smarter and smarter. They're having more access to more and more information. And I do think the scope of our current country right now is getting people to really think about stuff now and who they're supporting. So I get all of it, and just kudos for being 20 years ahead of the curve. But what I'm hearing though, and what I really like, is what we do really look to accomplish is to humanize brands and really bring out personalities. But I don't think that we have incorporated enough of the lifestyle part, right? Mm-hmm. Because what you just mentioned about a 1-minute video and all that, and I guess that's what content marketing, and that's what you're leading with being helpful and all of that. But Dennis has a way, and follow him here because he's been super successful at this, is he's weaved in more fun into the work here. And it's made for less need for hard work or, traditional hard work. This is challenging thought stuff, but not pounding away, 80 hours a week. So I really hear what you're saying. And then you're taking it to the client side. So when you do a testimonial, like, man, really get into that, develop that relationship, highlight them, build them up, have a conversation with them, and then break that up and weave it into your own marketing. And voila, you're going to, wow. It's so simple what you're talking about. And it's like, it's simple stuff, but it's genius. And if you really do it right, and you really, really hear what Dennis is saying, so follow this guy now, then your whole world is going to be greased. All the hard things and the challenging things, everything gets easier. Wow. Yeah. Am I hearing this right? I hope I didn't go off track there. Did I recap that?
You got it. It's stuff that we all know as humans that have friends and how we interact. So let me give you an example. So my friend Natalie Ferreira, she runs social lead gen at Infusionsoft. And we got together eating fried chicken and donuts. I've got crumbs all over me as we're eating. And we're talking about what we can expect about in Facebook in 2019. What are tips that small business owners need to follow to be successful while we're eating fried chicken and having a very real environment? Now, what are you going to trust more? You and me sitting down over fried chicken, talking about stuff, or a professional background where it's definitely a commercial, it's shot professionally. People are allergic to advertisements, right? When it's an advertisement, it looks like an advertisement, it quacks like a duck, it smells like a duck, it looks like a duck. And so we need to create content that does not look like it. It's this simple. Do not create stuff that looks like an advertisement.
Yeah. No, you don't know. I'll tell you some of the stuff we're doing here, and you won't know you'll see how much I agree with you. I have been shouting from the rooftops that if you're going to be shooting videos, do you have a computer with a camera, or do you have one of these? You're good. Now, high level product video, explainer video, front and center on your website. Sure. On-site stuff, invest in high quality stuff. And if you're going to be putting this much time into producing a podcast, have it produced correctly and make it look good and stuff like that. But for the 2 videos a week and the stuff that you're constantly putting out, it's better if it's not like that. Exactly. It's not only less expensive and easier to do, it's better. It's literally better, and it costs less. So everybody who is out there on the shoestring budget, hey, you can do it. You have the equipment. You just got to listen and learn from people like Dennis. And on that note, I think we're out of time because we are. So I'm going to have you back, Dennis, soon, so we can actually get into the how to get this stuff seen. We've talked about, and I will say, I think we've covered the harder part, the strategy part, the thinking through what you should be doing. Telling everybody, sometimes the execution feels like the hardest part, but no. This is the hard part. This is where you need to be concentrating. And we'll get into this other stuff at another time, Dennis, as far as getting people to see him. So hopefully to have you back soon. But would love for people to be able to continue to learn from you as we have. Can you let people know how to go about doing that, please?
Absolutely. Follow me on LinkedIn. Type in Dennis Yu on LinkedIn. Or you can follow me on Twitter. Do not follow me on Facebook. I'm at the 5,000 friend limit.
All right. And that's Dennis and then you. Why you? What's your email, Dennis?
Dennis at BlitzMetrics.com. I get 1,000 emails a day, but I always respond to everybody eventually.
Eventually. All right.
I do.
All right, Dennis. Thanks so much for your time. I am going to have my entire staff listen to this one twice because my brain's already firing off on so many things that we need to go and redo and do moving forward. So thank you for your time, and until next time.
Thanks, Dave.
Wow. What a great interview with Dennis Yu about how to scale your brand in a non-douchey way. And I implore everybody to continue to learn from this guy because he knows what he's talking about. For more great interviews like this, feel free to subscribe to our Magnificent Marketing podcast on iTunes, or you can go to our website and find it on a drop down. And I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you for listening to the latest podcast. Feel free to go to magnificent.com/blog to see the show notes for this interview, as well as those from many other of the world's top marketing experts.